Hi, guys, and welcome to our Premier League 2022-2023 season review.
You might work, but I work harder. You might fight, but I fight smarter. Might not be on top of the world, but hey, I'm on my way. You might fly, but I fly higher. You're so hot, but I'm on fire. Might not be on top of the world, but hey, I'm on my way.
Yes, I am back with the boys. Once again, another Premier League season has come and gone. To be honest, it's felt like it's flown by. My goodness. But here we are at the end of a season in May. It's been a crazy season for all four of our teams. Yes. Now, in this video, as you all know, we'll talk about how we think our teams have done this season. We'll also talk about the top four, the relegation zone, stats, and other stuff like that. There will be timestamps in the video description if you want to get to a certain part, as always. So, yes, let's start then with James with Brighton and Hove Albion. Now, I am sure he's got quite a few things to say, and deservedly so. It's been a fantastic season for the Seagulls. Your best season in the Premier League, yes. Of course, Europa League bound
Yeah,
next season. So, James, take
there
it
you
away.
go.
Take it away.
Yeah. When we did our review last year and we came ninth, I really thought, oh, you can't get better than that. You know, we came ninth. We'll take it. We'll try and go on to next season. And then this year we just blown that completely out of the water. Everyone was saying, "Oh, Potter's gone. You're going to really struggle now. You've lost Basuma. You've lost Kukurea." But we brought in De Zerbi, the best manager in the league, and bar none. That's just might be a bit biased, but that's super biased. But um, we were placed really well. The club knew from the offset that it was going to be tough, but they had the plans in place, and I've full trust in Tony Bloom and the rest of the board. But what a season! Sixth place, which is fantastic. Europa League, our first ever European travels. Can't go to Croatia next year. Yeah, it's just been mad because we started when De Zerbi first came in, we started really badly, but then the win against Chelsea really propelled us, and then from then on, players just got better and better, especially since the World Cup. March got probably better. Ferguson broke into the squad. Matoma broke into the squad. Caesar broke into the squad. Had a fantastic few games, scoring absolute worldies left, right, and centre. Jason Steele becoming our number one. Which, no, if anyone's watched the Sons of Until I Die Netflix series, he was pants. He was a robber. He was there to play a bit of golf, collect his wages every week, and that was it. But then here he is now, was even rumored to be in England's squad, which obviously hasn't happened, but was fantastic for him and stuff. But unfortunately, Sanchez has kind of thrown his toys out the pram, and he might be leaving in the summer, along with McAllister and Caicedo. I think they've both been absolute professionals. Obviously, Caicedo had all the speculation in January, almost went to Arsenal, almost to Chelsea. But then after the transfer window closed, they both just hunkered down and got on with the season. That could have been a massive, especially for Caicedo, a massive like hinder for him. But he went from strength to strength to strength and really helped us get to that place. And there were pictures and videos of McAllister after the game today against Villa, sobbing his eyes out as he's going to be serenaded by the fans. And it does look like he's going to move on. Where he goes, who knows? Maybe it's Liverpool, maybe it's somewhere else. It'd be interesting if he goes to Liverpool, considering we'll be in the same competition next year. But it is a higher level club, and one that can kind of guarantee that he will get Champions League next year or even the Premier League title. So we'll see what happens with them too. But I wish them all the best. The top professionals, they actually respect the club, unlike some players who have left us recently. But yeah, it's been fantastic. Hopefully, we'll keep on to a few players and bring some players in. We've got João Pedro from Watford to 30 million already guaranteed. He's going to be quality. James Milner and De Hood from Dortmund pretty much guaranteed free transfers, which again is incredible. Bulks of our midfield. We've got some great young players coming in. We've got a few youngsters started recently. Fire and the back was really good. Hinshaw would make his debut today. Looks quality up to the top. Cameron Pupian, who's Australian, looks quality. So I'm confident for next year, but I know that we have to keep building the squad because as we found out for the last few ends of the season, doing a Thursday Sunday really damaged us. We lost some games against. We lost against Forest. We lost against Everton. We lost today and stuff. We haven't got the squad depth yet. Lost to Newcastle, yes, obviously. Thank you, Callum, for reminding me of that. We don't have that squad depth, unfortunately, that we need to have. But after the City game on Wednesday, Bloom in an interview said that we are prepared for the next few months. So it looks like they're looking to sign some players. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I can't fault enough. Dunk's now in England squad. Finally, at long last, I've been calling for that for years. I think he should start. I think it's Malta and San Marino, two fairly easy teams. I think him and Stone should partnership at the front and the back. Arguably, England's two best defenders at the moment, bar a few players maybe. But yeah, so here's hoping for next season. Happy days. We're into a sixth. I couldn't be happier. And I think that who knows what happens next year. I think Europa League's probably our ceiling at the moment. I think Champions League's probably a bit too far for us. But as long as we push for Europe again next season, as well as doing well in those competitions, here's hoping for a Liverpool versus Brighton Europa League final. But who knows what will happen? Who knows what will happen? But yeah, absolutely pleased. Fantastic boys. Absolutely pleased.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for you, James. I'm happy for Brighton. Wasn't that long ago Brighton were a bottom 10 team, weren't they? Like one season, you nearly got relegated. Now, is a top 6, 62 points. It's amazing. Yeah. So congrats.
Well, even look at like same way as looking at Luton's rise from non-league to Premier League. Now it was only 2016 we were in the Championship, and now look at us obviously with Newcastle and stuff. And even as far back as the late 90s, we were on the verge of going bankrupt and being knocked out of the league and stuff. To now where we are now it's an inspiration. Teams like Luton, like Brighton, even Newcastle, with all the money they've got and stuff, is an inspiration to other clubs that yes, we can break into the top 6. That they can break through. Yes, obviously there have been some, Liverpool had dodgy season, Chelsea had dodgy season, Spurs had dodgy season, but we can go from strength to strength, and I think it's a great advert for the Premier League. So, yeah.
Callum, Luke, anything you want to add?
I mean, just really echoing what James has said, to be honest. I mean, I've watched, Brighton have had a lot of really important results this year, and they've been really consistent. Like, a lot of people thought with, like Trossard leaving in January as well, and everything being thrown up with Caicedo and McAllister, and then loads of things just happening. Potter leaving, taking the entire backroom staff with him, like James said. Like, it should have thrown the club into like some kind of, depressive spiral. But De Zerbi came in and replaced, all of Potter's people with his own, and then kicked on, and now you're in the Europa League. So, like, the structure of Brighton, it just goes to show, like, who's in charge, Tony Bloom and sporting director, people like that. No matter what manager comes in and what changes and what difficulties there are, it seems like you've got that kind of, solid foundation to be a really kind of secure team. So I do like the way that Brighton is being run.
Okay, great. Do you need to head off now, James? Can you stay for a bit longer? Okay.
I'll stay for a bit longer. See how far I can get.
Stay for a bit longer. Okay. Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you, James, and best. Well, we'll see what the future holds for the Seagulls in the Europa League next season. So, obviously, when we get to our season prediction video in a few months' time for next season. Okay. Then let's move on then to Newcastle. Now, another happy fan, very much so. I think Callum probably has the most reason to be the happiest out of all four of us, because Newcastle were in the relegation zone mid-season last year. Now they've finished 4th. It's Champions League football after 20 years. Obviously, yeah, I'm sure you're ecstatic, Callum. Take it away.
Well, again, I watched back the mid-season review about half an hour ago, and where I'd said, yeah, I think we're going to make Champions League, and I'm fairly certain, at least Luke and Adam both said, yeah, I think you're going to miss out. But look, like I fully accept that Chelsea and Liverpool didn't have the greatest of seasons this year, and Tottenham kind of fell off as well. And I know that, if they had been the way they were like in prior seasons, then we may not have got the way we were, but we were still competing regardless of whether or not they were going to be at their level. Like we've won half of our games. We've only lost 5 games this season, and that's actually, and 2 of them were to Liverpool, funnily enough, and 1 was to Arsenal. And there's no shame in that. But I think only Man City lost 5 as well. And so we basically we're on par with Man City in terms of losses this season. I also think in terms of best defense in the league as well, we're joint with City there on goals conceded with only 33 in the whole season. That's the same as City. Third best goal difference in the league as well, plus 35, because we've scored 68 goals as well, which admittedly isn't like Tottenham have scored more goals than we have, but like in general, like our attack has just been so on it, our defense has been so on it, we've been so organised. You know, we had the Carabao Cup run as well. We got all the way to the final and lost to United, which is really heartbreaking considering we beat them only a few weeks later in the league. So, you know, that was pretty depressing. But I can't complain about anything that Eddie Howe or anyone has done this season. You could make a case. James was saying before about De Zerbi being manager of the season. You can make a case for Howe. You can make a case for Arteta. You can make a case for any of those 3 really to be up there. But it's been amazing. We had a 15-game unbeaten run between September and January. I'm fairly certain I saw graphics of us being one of the, like, you know, in the top 5 European leagues. We were one of the top teams for unbeaten runs with people like Napoli and things like that. And that was just crazy to be in, you know, mentioned in those kind of, you know, positions with those teams. And I predicted 8th. I think most of us predicted 8th for Newcastle at the start of the season, and we got 4th. Which is just amazing. We've drawn 14 games this season, and I think that's the most inside the top. To be fair, it's actually one of the most in the entire league. The joint most draws in the entire league with Brentford, and we've hit the woodwork 26 times in the whole season, which is actually the most of any team. So if you imagine, even a few of those don't hit the woodwork and those go in and they transfer to wins and not draws, then, you know, where we could have ended up being. Because I mean, we were quite a few points behind Arsenal and City in the end, but well, actually it's only 9 points behind Arsenal. But even so, like, any one of those things could have happened and the season could have been different. But I'm just speechless, amazed, to be honest, a bit like James. And I mean, me and James probably are the 2 happiest. You know, sitting here right now. Callum Wilson scored 18 goals in the Premier League this season. I'm pretty sure that's probably got to be his highest Premier League scoring season, you would have to think. He also got 5 assists, so he actually got 23 goal contributions. And obviously he was injured for a bit as well. Like it's quite miraculous how he managed to get there. Almiron had scored 9 goals by January. He fell off, but he's still got about 13 goal contributions this season. I don't think I really mentioned Isak very much in January because he'd been injured for the first kind of half of the season. But he came in and scored about 7 goals in our run-in from February to April, and has looked, really awesome. Just all the players have really played their part this year. Dan Burn has been playing left back for the entire season, and I mean, I knew from watching his time at Brighton that he was a good player, and obviously he's a lad from Blyth, so he's basically from Newcastle. But it's just been really nice to see people like Murphy has had starting runs in the team, and actually when he was playing the last sort of 10 games, we were actually unbeaten with him in the team. Longstaff was a big miss when he was injured the last few games. Almiron again has been really awesome. Share. We put a lot of emphasis on Botman as a really good centre-back, and Botman has been an awesome signing, but Shah has been as equally as important as Botman has. Willock has been, I think he's maybe had about 9 goal involvements, but still, we've missed him the last 2 games when he's been injured. So I just think like so many players that were there previous ownership have been just so amazing. Joe Linton has finally got into the Brazil squad today. which he's deserved for a long time, personally, for me. But, he's been playing him I'm fairly certain we played him at striker early on in the season against Brentford. He's obviously kind of drifted out to the left mid, left wing, has played centre mid. He's basically like an all-round versatile player from the middle upwards. And he's turned into a really vital part of the team. I wrote down loads of different results of the season. We bagged 4+ goals in loads of different games this season. We beat Tottenham 6-1. We beat Fulham, Villa, Southampton, Everton, and Brighton by 4 goals, or 3 or 4 goals we scored against them. Brentford and West Ham, we scored 5 against them earlier on in the season. So we've had lots of high-scoring, big victories, to be honest. But yeah, we've got Champions League, but I am a little bit concerned, I guess, about, having to play the midweek games on the Tuesday and Wednesday in that competition, and then all the rescheduled matches for FA and Carabao Cup and then Premier League, and focusing on 4 competitions and doing this and doing that. Because while our squad depth is better than what it is, like, I look at the bench and I think, there's some okay players on there that can come in for cup games. But we do obviously need to use the TV revenue and use the money we're getting from finishing 4th and getting Champions League places to invest in some key areas. I think we're getting a new shirt sponsor as well. Fun 88 is obviously, I think we bought their contract out, so we no longer have to have them on the shirt. And I think it was some kind of Saudi thing called Stella. I don't know what they do, but I'm fairly certain it was like some kind of £40 million a year, something like that, thing that we're going to do for us. I don't really know anything about transfer targets, to be honest. I know Tierney's one that's been mentioned, but I don't think Eddie Howe likes how injury-prone he is. Maddison just got relegated with Leicester, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, and Harvey Barnes as well. But we do need depth, and we need people who maybe have played Champions League before. But I also want to be more like Brighton in a way and have more younger people come in to build, because we've got Elliot Anderson, who hasn't played as much as I'd have liked to have seen him. But we don't have like a huge bunch of youth players that we just bring on. I don't know that. I know it took time at Brighton with Dan Ashworth to do all that stuff. So that I would like to see more of that. But I think as a club, with the structure we have with the owners, with Darren Eales as our CEO, with Dan Ashworth there, the feeling with Eddie Howe and all the players that are currently at the club. Of course, even if we don't get Champions League next year and we finish even 6th in Europa League, like, I'm not going to complain, because this has been an amazing season, and I know that next season is going to be difficult. But I'm just really proud and really happy, probably for the first time in a good few years, to be a fan of Newcastle. So yeah, all just good stuff over here from me.
Yeah, I'm happy for you. Newcastle have got such a good fan base. You deserve it. You've Eddie Howe's come in and worked miracles. Well, obviously with all the Saudi money, but you've still got great signings, great players. And before Eddie Howe came in, you had to put up with some really bad managers and bad players, apart from Rafa Benitez. But I think, I'm just happy for you to get top 4. Because Newcastle back the Champions League after 20 long years, back in the Champions League. So yeah, nothing but happy for you. Luke, James, anything you want to add on for the Magpies?
Yeah, it's okay. So like I said earlier, it's great to have another team that haven't really been a top 6 team be in that place, and to be as high as that is fantastic. I think it's hopefully you guys kick on, like you said, to next year. Whether that is Champions League again and whether that's more Europe and stuff, I'm not sure. But like you said, it's all about that depth and bringing players in that can kind of help onto that and stuff. I think they had the backing of the money to do that and stuff. It's just a case of going and doing it and stuff. But obviously, some clubs who you want to try and buy from might be like, actually, they had the money to afford that. We'll jack up our prices. So it's about being logical and not just splashing cash for the sake of it. I think that's something that we've learned, is that we're not. You can spend 30, 40, 50, 60 million pounds on a player, but they might just be only worth 20, but the club has jacked to the price because they know you can afford it, kind of thing. But nah, proud of the Magpies. How are the lads and all that? Top quality club. So yeah, I'm gonna go, boys. But it's been great talking to you guys.
right.
Good luck for having sun. See you at the end of the summer.
All right. Thank you, James. We'll see
Take
you
care.
we'll see you for season predictions in a few months' time. Hopefully.
That's great. Cheers, boys.
Okay. Bye, James.
Bye.
All right, then let's continue with Arsenal. Luke. I want to say my condolences because us Liverpool fans, we know what you're feeling. We felt it 3 effing times, losing the league to City. But of course, I think yours is a bit, well, even though we were only a point behind in 2 of them. You guys were top of the league for most of the season. I think no team has ever been top of the league for as long as you guys, but then just fallen a final hurdle. Oh, so yeah, Luke, how are you feeling, mate?
It's a hard one to say, really. Obviously, the gap that we had and how long we were top of the league makes it look a lot worse than what it actually is, due to the fact City have a robot playing up front, the best manager in the league, and all that stuff behind it. But it was a games in hand, I think, that made it look a bit worse than what it actually was. And then, excuse me, and then obviously the games that cost us, well, some of the games that cost us were actually playing against City when, for example, if we got a draw at the Etihad, then that would have played massively into our hands, and then would have happily nicked points off the likes of the teams who should have done, Southampton, West Ham, etc. But then going on to those games, the likes of the Liverpool game, 2-0 up, bottled it. West Ham, 2-0 up, bottled it. Southampton, bottom of the league, 3-1 down at home, only drew 1-1 with them away. And then going back on to James's Brighton, they made us look like a League Two team at home a couple of weeks ago, 3-0 at the Emirates. That was very embarrassing. And it's days like today, really. Today was the first day without Saliba where we've defended very. I don't think Ramsdale made a single save today. But that's what it was like for the first 6-7 months of the season when we had a solid back four that played every single match. Zinchenko, Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White. Just made games easy in a way because they could all play very well with the ball. They were all, well, except Zinchenko, didn't need to be solid defensively. And then everyone in front of them was quite calm because I knew what they had behind them, like the likes of Xhaka, Partey, Odegaard. Because we've seen since Saliba got injured, Partey was probably one of our players of the season. As soon as Saliba got injured, Partey fell right off. I mentioned in our January halfway point that I thought Thomas Partey getting injured would cost us the season, but turns out it was Saliba. And then bringing in Rob Holding, there was a massive decline in ability, and he'll be one of the players to go, I think, this summer. But obviously, we have had a lot of things to chant about and be happy about, like certain games. We've had many last-minute winners. There was a Jorginho one that came off Emi Martinez's head against Aston Villa, which was nice, considering the amount of crap that he gives Arsenal fans since he left. There was obviously the Reece Nelson one against Bournemouth, which was kind of a goal that I thought, oh yes, this is our season, we're going to actually do it this time, but wasn't to be. And then big games, like it's been years since we got a result against Liverpool, beat them at the Emirates, done the double against Chelsea. I know that's not a lot to say this season. Done the double against Tottenham. Beat Newcastle away, which not a lot of teams have done this season. Yeah, I've been really happy. And then our shining lights are obviously the four up front in Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli and Jesus, who all had over 10 goals in the league. Odegaard actually had 22 goal involvements. Saka had 25 goal involvements. Martinelli had 20 goal involvements, and Jesus had 17 goal involvements. So between the four of them, that is really good going. Just shows how much of a team it's actually been this season, where everything's been spread around rather than it being down to one person, one individual. I'll just go on to say a bit about Granit Xhaka. I think he's been one of the most improved players of the season this year. I mean, everyone's seen. I think it was maybe 4 years ago now when he was off the pitch and he was giving the "oh, come on, boo, can't he?" all that stuff. All the fans giving him a load of crap. Then before he was going to be gone after that, and then I think it was a couple of months after Mikel Arteta came in and give him the trust that he needed and give him a second chance. And then this season, he's been absolutely incredible. Been except for the likes of De Bruyne, Rodri, and Odegaard, he could have been in the Premier League team of the season with how good he's been. And today was his final match for us. Everyone's assuming. Looks like his wife's wanting to go back to Germany, and Xabi Alonso wants him at Bayer Leverkusen, so it looks like that's going to be going ahead. But it's looking likely that we've got a very apt replacement in Declan Rice, which I'm looking forward to if that ends up going through. I think that's a big upgrade in quality for us being back in the Champions League after, what's it been now, 7 years, I think. And I think we need a few more of those types of signings. I think we should go back in for Caicedo again. Just because Rice is replacing Xhaka, and we need something on top of that as well with the depth that we'll need. We definitely need someone to come in to replace Saliba if his injury recurs again. We just need to start building on top of what we've got, like City, and just have two decent players in every position. And hopefully we'll see if he can go again next season. It'll obviously be a lot harder. Like Callum says, everyone's had off seasons like you, Adam. Obviously Chelsea, Tottenham. But at the same time, as they can improve, we can also improve. So I'm being optimistic, and I'm looking forward to see what happens next season.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Luke. Yeah, very well said. I think, like you've said, it really is about how Arsenal bounce back from this. It's still it's like Gary Neville said. I know he got sliced for this on Sky Sports, but he did say this has still been an amazing season for Arsenal. And they were like, "No, it hasn't. They've bottled it. They've bottled it. They had it in their hands and they bottled it. It's not been a good season." Like, well, it has, because you just haven't finished in the top four since what, 2016. So that's still, and then you take City all the way in the title race, and you were in front for most of it, but that's still an incredible achievement going from fifth last season. So I think with new signings, I fully expect Arsenal to still be back up there next season. I think City will be heavy favourites for the title next season, but but if Arsenal, Newcastle, if we can come back, and a few other teams, it should be very interesting next season for sure. So, but yeah, anything you want to add, Callum?
I mean, yeah, I get what everyone's saying about. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I predicted Arsenal to be in the Champions League places at the start of the season, and I don't think a lot of people thought that they could be there.
Yeah.
So I think with the overestimation of some people for them to finish second, it is. Don't get me wrong. It's an amazing achievement for Arteta, but I think if you look at what it could have been, with the what was it, like an 8 or 9 points gap at one point. I mean, you only finished 5 points behind them because they lost to Brentford today. If you translated the draw against Southampton and Liverpool and West Ham to the wins, you would have, it was in your hands to keep. But I mean, obviously, I get City is City, and they've got Haaland, and there's a lot of pressure, and a lot of you've got a very young squad as well. So obviously, with the experience, they'll obviously have, hopefully trying to sort of keep that momentum going forward to the end of the season and hopefully challenge again. So it has been a good season, but I think, like, in comparison to when we were saying at the start about me and James being the more excited, or being the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? being the most happy about the season, I guess, you've obviously got to factor in the fact that you were first for 248 days of the season, something like that, I think the statistic was. But yeah, still, Champions League football is good for Arsenal after these years, but could have been more, obviously.
I just remember watching all the AFTV highlights. Sorry, Luke, but I find it so entertaining. Like with Ty and Robbie's speech before the Etihad game. I'm sorry. Did you see that? It was it was brilliant.
He fired me up for the game, and then obviously it was an absolute whitewash.
That was brilliant. Like, we can do this wherever you are. Spain, New Zealand, we can win this. And then 4-1. It's like, it was anyway. But yeah, okay. Well, thank you, Luke. Okay, and yes, let's hope Arsenal are still fully back up there next season, challenging City, or definitely at least second or third. Okay. Right then, let's continue with our top four. So let's look at the teams that finished in the top four this season. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right then. So yes, Liverpool. So yeah, it's to say it's been a disappointing season. Let's just say it like it's not been the standards us fans have been used to the last few seasons under Jurgen Klopp. So yeah, we've finished fifth, a few points behind Newcastle, only a few, but still, it's been a disappointing season. 67 points, yeah, 4. Thank you, Callum. 4. So at least we've still got Europa League next season. That's yay, yay! We've got Europa League. Isn't that great, lads? So yeah, we have had 19 wins. 10 draws and 9 defeats. So pretty much a 50-50 season with wins, losses, and if you count the losses and draws together. 75 goals scored, 47 conceded. That's quite high. But 27 plus goal difference, which is good. So yeah, it's been such a mixed bag of a season for us Liverpool fans. It's the first full season under Klopp. We haven't finished in the top 4 full season. So yeah, that's a bit of a bitter pill to swallow. Even in the 2020-2021 season, that was quite a poor season, but we still managed to finish third on 69 points. So that was only 3 points higher than this, or 2 points higher than this season. So yeah, I talked about all what went wrong in our mid-season review because the first 2/3 of this season we were just way off the pace, way too many draws, way too many defeats. I think there were so many things that I think was going wrong, which I talked about in mid-season, like injuries, fatigue, aging players, just really poor defending, the fact that Salah just wasn't scoring, Núñez was missing bucket loads of chances. We were missing a few players from injury, like Jota and Diaz were injured, missing Mane, of course. So yeah, I think I said all this in mid-season. And yeah, despite the fact we did finish the season somewhat strong, 7 wins in a row, which all started with I think a 6-1 thrashing of Leeds away. Then we just went on a strong 7-game winning streak. So it looked like, okay, even though it might be a bit too late to challenge for 4th place, it's still a strong way to end the season. But then our last 2 games of the season, disappointing draw at Anfield to Aston Villa. And then today, a bonkers 4-4 draw with Southampton. 4-4. It's just, the game was a consolation game because win, lose or draw, we would have stayed 5th because it was too late to get 4th place. But so yeah, despite the fact it has been a disappointing season for us, the fact that we've still got 5th place, only a few points behind Newcastle, and we've got Europa League. I think a lot of Liverpool fans were just like, yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it. It's still Europa League. It's not Champions League. It's still a competition to go and win next season, and I think we will be. I think we will be strong favourites to go on and win it. I can't see many other teams there may be a few teams that'll give us a good game, definitely. But I think if we play the best we can, I think we definitely will be strong favourites to go and win the Europa League next season. But we'll see. So when I mean about an inconsistent season, it has been disappointing. There have been some really good results this season. The big one, of course, thrashing Man United 7-0 at Anfield. That was Christmas come early. That was just beautiful, absolutely thrashing them 7-0. We can brag about that for years, even though they got third. We can still go, we beat you 7-0, so yeah. The crazy 4-3 with Spurs at Anfield, that was crazy, with the last second winner with Jota. 6-1 with Leeds. We beat City at Anfield, which was one of the few teams to beat City this season at Anfield. We, like Callum mentioned, we one of the only team that did the double over Newcastle this season, home and away. And early on in the season, we did thrash Bournemouth 9-0. So some big wins that look like the Liverpool of old. But then, to balance it out, just way too many disappointing away defeats. Like the away form this season has been so disappointing. With losses to Brighton, Brentford, Nottingham Forest, Wolves, Bournemouth. City thrashed us 4-1. Leeds beat us at Anfield, even though our Anfield form mostly has been very good this season. And Leeds did get a cheeky win at Anfield. So yeah, that's just because of that poor 2/3 of the season, and especially away form. It's just cost us 4th place, which is disappointing. But end of the day, I'm not that gutted. I'm just disappointed but I know that this has been very much a transitional season, and I fully expect us to be back next season, back in that top 4. Maybe not challenging City. I think City are just going to win the league for the next few seasons now. Now they've got Haaland, they're unbeatable, I think. So I think definitely back in the top 4 next season. Have a good go at the Europa League. No injuries, fingers crossed. I think injuries didn't help. I think we're going to be getting some new midfielders to bolster that midfield, because we do have we have an aging squad. The midfield has been very lackluster this season. The defending has been lackluster. As much as I love Van Dijk and Matip, it's just been nowhere near the standards we were used to. Alexis McAllister, he's rumoured to be coming within the next few weeks. It's heavily rumoured. Nothing's been confirmed yet, but I think he'll be a fine addition to our midfield collection. General Grievous. So, sorry, what was that? That was bad. Sorry, guys. So yeah, just to finish off, I'll go over top scorers. Salah, despite the fact that the first half of the season he was very poor, so he started scoring loads of goals, and second half of the season he finished on 19 goals. So that's a good season. Firmino, his last season, Bobby Firmino, he scored today. He scored against Villa, but farewell, Bobby Firmino. What a club legend. He got 11 goals this season. Núñez, 9. For what we paid for him, 9 goals is not good enough, simple as that. But he's missed so many chances, and I think maybe we just did pay too much for him. But hopefully next season he can get more goals, hopefully. Gakpo got 7 goals. Gakpo's looked good. Of course, he came in January. Jota's got 7 and Diaz got 4. Of course, they were injured for large spells of the season, but if they're not injured next season, that's a formidable attacking lineup, I think. Salah, Núñez, Jota, Gakpo, and Diaz. I think that could cause a lot of teams problems next season if everyone stays fit. And assists, Salah got 12. So Salah's had another fantastic season, even though the first half of the season he wasn't looking at it. 19 goals and 12 assists. Very good. Trent's got 9. Robertson's got 8. So, yeah, that's all I've really got to say. Of course, and one last bit, a farewell to Bobby Firmino and James Milner. Well, especially James Milner too. He's been what a player he's been, considering he was a free signing. Just he's absolute trooper. I love Milner. And Kaiser and Oxlade-Chamberlain. Yeah, bye. So don't hit you on the way out. I know they've been injured so many times, but yeah. Okay. Anything you guys want to add, or should we just before we move on to top 4?
Well, I think given the fact at one point in the season you were 10th, I think 9th or 10th, you were as low as that at some point in the season. Like Brentford, Fulham, they were ahead of you at one stage. But yeah, you put a lot of string of good results together towards the end to get yourself up there. But like you said, you're beating you're beating City and you're beating Manchester United by that many, but also losing to Leeds, Nottingham Forest, and I don't think you lost to Bournemouth, but I can't remember who else you said.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
we did.
You did. But then look, it's just been a weird season, really. But to finish where you finished, only 4 points behind Newcastle, really, you have to take it as a bit of a success thing, considering how much worse it could have been. You could look at it that way.
I was like, who talks next? Sorry.
I went from big.
Yeah, and another positive is that as disappointing as it has been, we've still finished the season somewhat strong. Got fifth. Yeah, Chelsea. Oh my God, what has happened to Chelsea? What was it, 12th? They have been abysmal.
11th. I think it was 11th.
11th. Oh my God, Chelsea have had an absolute stinker of a season. And the money they've spent too.
600 million spent in 2 windows. Or is it 3? 3 windows, 2 windows? I went whenever Abramovich left, but what was it? 105 million on Enzo Fernandez. I know is he a defensive midfielder? I'm not sure if he's got any assists or goals. Mudryk, 80 million on him. Luke, I bet you're glad you dodged him in January because he's done nothing. It was just weird because there's signed so many people and barely any of them have gotten into the team.
Yeah,
it's just
and of course, and I'm sure Luke would be happy to hear Tottenham have had a pretty disappointing season too. So 3 of the big 6 have finished outside the top 4 this season, which has allowed, of course, Arsenal and Newcastle to take up those spots. So, yeah, okay. Anything you want to add, Luke, or should we get to top 4?
Sorry, go on, Luke.
No, I was going to say on the Mudryk thing, we've saved £60 million and brought in Trossard, who I think, since he come in, I think there's only De Bruyne who's had more assists than him. So that's what happens when you're smart with your business. Todd Bowley.
14, I was going to say, 14 managers got sacked this season.
Ooh.
I think that's the most ever. And Chelsea sacked Tuchel and Potter in the same season.
Yeah, and
I think it's the biggest mistake they made, sacking Tuchel that early on in the season. I'm not sure what they were thinking doing that, but yeah, anyway.
And Tuchel's gone on and won the league with Bayern Munich, hasn't he? So
yeah.
Although it's a one-team league, isn't it? The Bundesliga. What is it?
Well, you say that, but they only won on goal difference because Dortmund drew the last game of the season. Anyway, we're not Bundesliga fans, but
okay. All right. Well, let's move on then. Let's just quickly discuss top 4. So City, of course, won the league on 89 points. Arsenal second, 84 points. Man United third, 75 points. And, of course, Newcastle fourth, 71 points. Any thoughts on the top 4? I think some people are saying, Luke, that have Man United had a better season than Arsenal because they're in 2 cup finals and gotten third. While Arsenal, I've heard there's been like big fan debates on a few YouTube pages. What's your thoughts?
I'd say, as a football fan, you want to win trophies, but at the same time, I would much rather be on board with our project at the minute than with their project. I'm very optimistic compared to some of my Man United friends, I would say.
Yeah, well, I hope they don't win the FA Cup because I don't. That's what we did last season, the domestic cup double. I don't want them getting the cup. Come on, City. Okay. Anything you want to add in top 4, Callum, or should we move on?
No, I mean we spoke about Newcastle and Arsenal, didn't we? So,
okay.
Say, how crazy is that Brentford have done the double over City this season?
Yeah. So
out of all the teams.
And Southampton beat them as well in the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup as well, way back when, and they smashed them, I think, if I can remember. So yeah, it's a bit of a few weird results for them as well, really. But don't think Harlow was playing in those games. He must have been on the bench.
Yeah, they rested a few players today against Brentford, so cause I think they're all after they won the league. Okay, then let's talk about the relegation zone. So of course the 3 teams that went down: Southampton 20th, 25 points. That's pretty bad. 19th Leeds 31 points, and 18th Leicester 34 points. And gutted for Leicester because I was really rooting for them today. I was really rooting for them. And I was like, come on, Bournemouth, beat Everton. And it wasn't to be. Everton stayed up by the skin of their teeth again. Oh, yeah. Any thoughts on the teams that went down, guys?
It's just strange.
Gone.
So I was just going to say, it's strange that the likes of Southampton, we didn't beat them this season, and they finished rock bottom. They have actually had some good performances in some games, but most of the games have just been absolutely dreadful. So good riddance, I would say. One of our bogey teams. I'm happy to see them go.
It's
I mean, Leicester won the league 7 years ago, didn't they? And now they're getting. I mean, I know that was a bit of a weird, fluky season, but now they're being, they since before this season they were always top 10. They were always fighting for Champions League and mostly getting in Europa League places. But now, for some reason, they just capitulated with Kasper Schmeichel leaving them because he was the only person who left, to my knowledge. He went off to France, and then since then, well, they're just fallen. They've gone. And then Leeds, stayed up, kept themselves up on the last day of last season as well. But it was weird because they did quite a lot. I mean, lost Calvin Phillips and Rafinha, so actually they're two quite big losses. But people like Mark Rocker and Weston McKennie and Adams, they're decent midfielders. I'm not really sure kind of where Leeds have gone wrong. Bamford was injured a lot, but it is what it is, isn't it? It's a bit of a weird trio to go down, I suppose. But none of the promoted teams got relegated.
I think that's the first time that's happened in ages. Yeah,
I think it might have happened. It's only happened 3 or 4 times in the history of the Premier League, and this year is one of them.
Great, good. Okay, I'm gutted for Leicester. I hope Leicester bounce back next season. Leeds and Southampton, I think they're going to struggle in the Championship. I think they're probably going to maybe. We'll see. We can't predict it, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, then let's move on to the top stats of the season. So me and Callum will do this because last year Luke's camera went funny. So I'll do goals and club goals, and Callum, you can do assists and clean sheets.
Got it.
Okay. So I'll start with goals. Well, top goal scorers. So top goal scorer, we all know, Erling Haaland, 36 goals. Sweet Jesus, he broke the record, didn't he? There's 36 goals
of Alan Shearer and somebody else. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, broke the record.
I think it was Salah. Salah got 32 a few years back, but Harry Kane, 30 goals. Even though Tottenham have had a rubbish season, Harry Kane carried them, 30 goals. What? Ivan Toney got 20 goals. Salah, 19. Callum Wilson, 18. Marcus Rashford, 17. And his 3 on 15. Luke will be happy. Martinelli with 15. Ollie Watkins with 15. And Martin Odegaard with 15. So, yeah, some Harry Kane, though, he was only 6 behind Haaland. So, he's very good. Not bad at all. Okay, Callum, do you want to do assists?
Sure. Worth pointing out that Spurs don't have any European football, so you would think Harry Kane. This should be the time where he leaves and goes somewhere else, and whether it's Man United, whether it's somewhere like that. I'm not really sure because he's not going to go to City, so that'll be a strange one. I think the main place he can go is probably Man United. But anyway, so assists, and my dog is barking a lot, and Olivia is shouting at him. Just let that one clear. Sorry. Okay. Kevin De Bruyne had Kevin De Bruyne had the most assists this season with 16, quite clear of Salah, who was in second with 12. Leandro Trossard, I'm assuming some of them were for Brighton, also got 12 as well. This one's a bit of a strange one. Michael Olise for Crystal Palace got 11 assists this season. Yeah. He's been quite a good player for them, to be honest. Saka also got 11, and Mahrez was in 6th place on 10. Trent had 9 as well, just to throw one in there for Liverpool as well. So yeah, Olise being in there is an interesting one. He's been a good player for Palace this year.
Yeah. Okay, then let's go to goals. Man City first, of course, 94 goals. Wow, that's a lot. Second, Arsenal, 88 goals. Nice one, Luke. Liverpool third, with 75. That's because we've had so many high-scoring victories this season, I guess, with the 9-0s and 7-0s, etc. Brighton, 4th, 72. I'm sure James is happy with that. Tottenham, 70. It's funny, we say Tottenham's had a bad season, but 70 goals ain't bad. Harry Kane, 30 goals.
Scored 30
I know, Harry Kane scored 30. And Callum, 69 goals for Newcastle with 6. And then Brentford and Man United are tied with 58 goals. Man United only got 58 goals this season, but they still got third. Jammy buggers. Jammy buggers. Okay, and Callum, do you want to go on the sheets the sheets that are nice and clean?
Right. So Manchester United actually had the most clean sheets this season. So I'm thinking, obviously they didn't score that many goals, but they kept some clean sheets. So David De Gea got 17 clean sheets. Alisson, Nick Pope, and Aaron Ramsdale all had 14 clean sheets each. So all three of our teams have the same amount of clean sheets.
Woo!
David Raya for Brentford, bit of an unsung hero, got 12. Jose Sarr for Wolves got 11, as did Emiliano Martinez. And strangely, Ederson only got 11 clean sheets this season for Manchester City. I'm not sure if Ortega might have played 1 or 2 games, so maybe City have more than that in general. But I thought maybe they could put in more for Ederson. But yeah, it's interesting that all of our 3 teams have the same clean sheets.
Okay, great. Well, they have been the season top stats, etc. So that we're nearly done. So to finish off, let's just very quickly talk about the upcoming big cup finals to finish off the season, so to say. So FA Cup final is next weekend. I think it's safe to say, are we all going with Man City?
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who to pick on that one. It's like, oh God, but I'd rather City win than Man United do a cup double. So F it, just give it to City. Then, of course, the Champions League final is the week after next, or I think it's sometime in June.
The 10th of June, I'm not sure.
Yeah, sometime in June. Are we all going with City again? Oh no.
Yeah, I think they're going to do the treble, aren't they?
No. And also their first Champions League. No.
Yeah.
Oh, because that's the one thing we all had over City, like, ha 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 ha, you know who won the Champions League? Oh crap, they're going to win it this year. Oh no. But
we've never done it either, so they're going to overtake us on that.
Oh God. Well. I mean, we can, fingers crossed, Inter can pull off a big upset, but I think it's not looking likely. Oh, Callum's frozen. Oh dear.
Right at the death.
Come on, Luke. Let's do it. Come on. All right. Well, we'll leave it there. Callum's gone. So yeah, thank you for joining me, Callum. Well, even though he's frozen, and thank you for joining me, Luke. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks very much.
Yes, and we will see you all again for the start of the new season come August. So we'll probably be back in about 2.5 months with our season prediction video. Oh, Callum's gone. In a few months' time for next season. So thank you, guys. Okay.
I'm back. Woohoo!
Oh.